It's complicated. That's what we always hear. It's complicated. Avoid simplistic solutions. So this is what the author says. He says, as followers of Christ, we must resist the temptation to reduce complex human suffering to simple narratives that fit our political preferences. So he tells us, don't reduce complex human suffering to simple narratives, and then it's a simple narrative, October 7th is bad.
Right.
What happened on October 7th, 2023, because, as Rifat Qassis always says, he's a Palestinian Christian activist, and in the beginning there was October 7th. That's how in the minds of many Western Christians. Let's read. What happened on October 7th, 2023 was a wicked act of hatred from Islamic extremists. The attacks on Israeli civilians were horrific acts of terrorism that justified retaliation. Fair-minded observers cannot conclude that Israel's military and political response was unwarranted. Some, however, will only question whether that response was proportionate and strategic, with a viable place for long-term governance and stability. Just to clarify for our audience, that response that he's talking about is the genocide that leveled maybe 100,000 people. He calls it response. He continues, the mainstream news narrative and recent recognition of Palestinian statehood seems predetermined. Israel is the aggressor and Palestinians are the victims. This is the guy who told us to avoid simple narratives that fit our political preferences. Western journalists have extensively covered attempted food airdrops to starving Gazans. Articles abound criticizing the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and its evangelical leadership, questioning their capacity for impartiality. Yet these same publications remain conspicuously silent about the UN's hiring practices and documented bias against Christians converts from Islam, something my organization witnesses regularly. Of course, because we Christians must be always at the center of the world.
The thing is, he never like hyperlinks that last bit about the UN and practices. This is what your organization does, like show us the reports. I don't know what he's talking about. But to also conflate those two different things about, again, like this is the same trope of the perpetual Christian victim, right? Okay, well, let's say that's actually true. Show us, but also how is that related to the famine and the destruction in Gaza? So this is just, it's called like a red herring. You just want to muddy the water by inserting some information that have nothing to do with what's happening in Gaza, and you use the poor Christian victim as a talking point. It's like a very disingenuous, I need to be kind with my language, but it's a very like dishonest, I'm sorry for this language, dishonest way to deal with what's happening in Gaza. This is not a real and a serious and also a charitable way to think about Gaza. It's muddying the water to make a political point.
100%.
And to be clear, we're talking about what numerous reports from human rights organizations to legal entities, to UN reports, including, by the way, several Holocaust and genocide scholars, including several Jewish Holocaust and genocide scholars, Israeli Jewish Holocaust and genocide scholars, who said this is targeted killing, this is genocide, this is not acts of self-defense, and so on. Did he read the reports? Did he take them seriously? I mean, again, and what shocks me is that he criticizes the media that is predominantly biased for years towards Israel. And the only, he tells us not to do simple narratives, then goes on and condemns with the strongest language possible, as did many Christians we know, many church statements and so on, the wicked act of hatred from Islamic extremists. These are horrific acts of terrorism that justified retaliation. We'll talk about justified retaliation later.
Like, he didn't even care to mention what happened between January, the 1st of January and October 6th of 2023. And as we highlighted in our call for repentance, 300 Palestinians. Yeah, even the very immediate context, just what happened in the 9 months before October 7, how 300 Palestinians, including 38 children, were killed in the West Bank that year before October 7.
Where there's no Hamas.
Where like he...
Yes. So the context is completely missing. We know this. But what I want to highlight, and this is common in all, even most evangelical responses and Christian responses, to be honest, everything began on October 7th. Everyone avoids the context. And again, we're not justifying, we're not supporting, we're not condoning what happened on October 7th. We cannot, justify or support killing of children and so on and civilians. But what shocks me, again, we shouldn't be shocked anymore. Here is the typical, what he wants to convince, and many others as fair-minded, is October 7th was bad, yet the response was maybe. We can question, if it was perfect, if it was done in a good way, maybe, they could have been less and so on. And again, there is no condemnation. So what he called wicked act of hatred only applies to the Palestinians, but not to the Israelis who filmed themselves demolishing homes, who, my goodness, 20,000 children have been killed. Children are being killed from starvation. He can't even condemn that. Only blames Palestinians for everything. And just he says, we have the right to question, was it warranted or so on, whether was it proportionate.
He's saying
some will question. Yes.
Some will question.
Like 2 people, like 2-3 people maybe.
Some people will question. I mean, he himself is not questioning. And also, to be honest, he uses stronger language. Like, he uses the word justice. Maybe I shouldn't jump, but in the 3rd section, call for Christian consistency.
Justified retaliation.
Justified, and also in the penultimate paragraph, it means supporting Israel's right to defend itself while questioning whether all tactics serve the cause of justice. So there is a presupposition here that what Israel does is serving the cause of justice, but perhaps some of its tactics, like genocide, etc., maybe, we're not sure if it serves the cause of justice, but the presupposition is that Israel is serving the cause of justice.
You know that if this article was published in November of 2023, I would be okay with it. I obviously would be disappointed, but 22 months later, seriously, this is that kind of discourse that you as an author, especially someone who's from, probably didn't have to say this, someone from the Middle East, you should, surely the language, the culture. But 22 months later, this is the kind of discourse you have without, it shows that Christian, and this also is reflective of a lot of experiences that we have as Palestinian Christians, of how tone deaf so many Christians can be and so apathetic to real things. Surely the author knows about the Israeli Holocaust and genocide scholars who call this a genocide. Surely they have heard of Amnesty International, the most important human rights organization in the world. Surely have heard of B'Tselem and their reporting. But it's so fascinating to me, how more tone deaf and ignorant can we be? It's shocking to me.
I'm sorry, Danny, but also the article is not showing any desire to know the truth. So I'm not sure if they know about all of these reports. There is not care, it seems. The article doesn't demonstrate that. That there is care to mention these reports, to check them out.
Did you like this video? Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications. For exclusive content and to support the work we're doing here at the podcast, go over to patreon.com/acrossthedivide. Your support keeps us going. Thank you, friends.